Welcome to hashtag 52 Needs, and we're in week 5, and we are looking at choices. And I'm really delighted to have with me Luke Faccini, who is the founder of The Sponge, a branding agency that specializes in helping the next generation of business owners rebrand with purpose. Luke is originally from Sydney and now lives in Brisbane. So we're Brisbanians. We actually got to catch up in person the other day, which was really lovely. Luke has had a purpose moment that transformed his outlook on business. And so The Sponge obtained B Corp certification a few years ago. And Luke is a firm believer that business can and should be a force for good. His purpose is to help good businesses become better brands. And he says, by all means necessary. So he has a book, an online program, and he helps to grow the GoodNorth Good Business community, which is a really wonderful community. So if you have a moment, I can only invite you to join that because it's absolutely wonderful. I love these meetings, online and in person. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we're going to talk about choices and choice. And it's everywhere. And I think we're wired for choice. I mean, just the fact that we've got good, bad, black, white, wrong, right. I mean, that's already a choice. But where does choice actually begin for you?
Choice. I think it's a conscious analysis of an opportunity, and where there is the freedom to do that. So some things that pop to mind is that in business, so for me, I choose to work with businesses that have a positive impact in the world, or the intention. So that comes by asking a question and being open to both sides of that, the outcome there. So a lead came in this morning or came in last night, and our process is to acknowledge that we've sent them a bit of an outline of what it is that we do and why we do it, and ask them to respond to it so that I can see, our team can see if there's a resonance there, and if there is, then we will choose to work with them. I know that then puts us challenges. So I think in the choice there is what is the true opportunity cost, and what is the true cost of the alternative, and loss of money, loss of whatever it might be. Like, there's the lost opportunity, but then there's the gain, and how we balance that.
So choice involves sacrifice?
Ooh. That potentially. And that could be seen on both sides, right? So if you choose something that's value aligned, and there's you don't gain, then is that a sacrifice, or is that a gain because you've gained, or because you've confirmed your values, or you've got that liberation because you know you've done something that's aligned with who you are, versus if you compromise that and then choose the alternative but gain money, have you sacrificed yourself to gain? So it's which one? I guess there is a sacrifice there on either way, but there's also gain.
Yeah, so we're basically in the middle of a deep philosophical discussion already.
Yes.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just pare it back a little bit. So what kind of choices do you make every day that you go, those are the ones that I feel really good about?
Yeah. So there's some discipline things that I know that are beneficial for me. So I've set some personal goals to meditate every day, to pray, to breathe, to take particular supplements, to work out, all these kind of things where I'm going to have resistance.
Okay, you include breathing in that. I assume that's conscious breathing and not the automatic breathing.
Yes.
I'm not sure that that's actually a choice.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's the deep belly, conscious belly breaths that are very centering. So the choice to be centered, the choice to be balanced, the choice to be present, the choice to be healthy, and those often have resistance.
Yes, absolutely. I know that I love box breathing, and I set myself a reminder to do that on a regular basis. But if I'm busy, that may not happen,
Mm,
you know, because and it's really ironic because that's just a minute or two.
yes.
And then at the end of the day, I go, that didn't happen so often today.
Yeah.
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 So we can choose our focus as well,
We
where we
can.
place our attention.
Absolutely. And that's where I was where I was heading with that, is that I've got some very clear goals that I hold in my
Yeah.
my sweet spot. So the whiteboard just sitting up there with my main goal and the pyramid that sits under it. So I find myself drifting in thought, looking up, and I'm back on track immediately. I know what decisions I have to make through that day on what to focus on. So what my choices are in order to
Yeah.
get to that goal.
It's interesting that, I mean, I love that you put your goals up there, because I find that a lot of times we know what we don't want. So we make choices around that. I want to avoid this. I no longer want that. And I find that that's actually the worst thing you can do, because it brings you right back to that. My metaphor for that is the GPS. I mean, if you told your GPS not to take you to Sydney, to a particular street, you may wonder why you end up there, because your GPS clearly didn't hear the not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're on a motorbike, look where you want to go. Right?
Yeah.
So same thing as if you need your goal, you need to look where you want to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you make choices in every area of your life: food, health, supplements, all of that. What other choices do you make where you go, you know, you already said, we talked about sacrifices and all of that, but what choices do you make where you go, it's not really a choice, it's a requirement? Because there's a choice is a choose to, can, could, may, but then there's the requirement, which is the must, ought to, have to. But there
Yeah.
still could be choice in that if you decided to have that. Could you?
Yeah, that's good. That sort of deepens values to principles, I guess. Like if something is just that is deep seated as a principle, then it's not a choice. It's like it's the decision is made, and you almost have to go against your principles.
Yeah.
I mean, values is another way to say that, but depends how strongly you hold to your values.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's things that I see as part of me, right? So these decisions to work out are not hard;
Yeah.
they're an easy choice because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
To work only with conscious businesses or businesses with positive intent, that's who I am. Like they're aligned with my purpose, with my ethos. So um,
So basically, there's no must there, there's no choose to, it's just I do.
I do. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah, and just sometimes you just need to. I don't know. The Mel Robbins things, the 5 second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get up and do it, regardless. Like you're not. Just be who you know you are.
So what is the 5 second rule?
Oh, Mel Robbins did a TED talk, and she wasn't really talking about that, but that caught on, and she got a book. Like so, it's like if you need the motivation, you just count yourself from 5, and like on one you do it no matter what. So it's like just a snap out of it, like
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool, I'm up doing this, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm on the call. I'm on the call with somebody, or whatever it might be. You're just using that as like the method to just get you to start. Because once you
Mm.
start, you're all right. And that's the reality of it, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're fearing these things or you're resistant for some reason, it's like
Yeah.
you need to keep
So
going.
what do you do when you decide not to make a choice? Because sometimes, you know, you can say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go, nah, I'm not doing that.
Well, you've made a choice.
Okay, but what will prompt you more into one direction of doing something and then maybe doing something else or not doing something, which is also, yes, as you said, a choice.
uh,
What drives that?
so for me, it's either just realizing who I am or reminding myself who I am.
Mm-hmm.
If I am a purposeful branding guy, right? That's my thing. So there's no way I'm going to work for a brand that is not that, or
Mm-hmm.
not on that journey. And it for me, there's zero compromise there, because if I do that, then my integrity is lost. I am not whole.
Mm-hmm.
So the same, when I used to own I owned a national weight loss company for 5 years, a while ago. And that, because I was the guy like that, I had a weight loss company. I was the fittest that I ever was. I was the leanest that I ever was. I wouldn't eat a snack. I wouldn't eat anything that was processed sugar, because I had this persona to live up to, because
Mm-hmm.
that's who I was. So that's what I was about. After I exited the company, I loosened up a little bit. And now I'm finding that I'm on a challenge to correct some of that, because I liked that, having that hunger. And now I'm into a thing I'm choosing, and I've chosen, which is a 90-day no snacks.
Okay.
I'm choosing to not eat outside of the 2 meals a day that I have. So it's a choice, but I'm redefining who I am again, back to that disciplined, controlled human being that, like, I know that I was, and I know that I can be. So
Okay, so choices is a fluid concept then.
it is. It is. But to make it a no-brainer, you create that ideal of who you are and what traits that person has, and then be it, and make the decisions that align with it.
Mm, okay.
Where there's the choice, where you actually do have a choice.
Okay, but I'm also hearing that, you decided that when you had the weight loss company, that you were really strict. You choose to completely and 100% adhere to that person that you were then, and then you loosened up. So the choice, again, when you stick with something or when you don't stick with something, self-forgiveness might be also a little bit part of that, and saying, I made a choice not to be 100% today, and that's okay. Or is, again, we talked about that, I mean, the duality, is it really black and white? Do you have to beat yourself up for choosing not to do something? Because I think a lot of people do that.
Oh, yeah. So creating habits or rituals or objectives that are unachievable, that's not good, right?
Mm,
So after, like, I put 90 days down because I don't want to create something where I'm going to go, this is unsustainable,
mm,
and then break it and give myself a hard time. I know 90 days I can do, and after 90 days, then I'll liberate myself from that and change it, set a new, what is my criteria here? Do I want to allow myself to have snacks, once a fortnight or once a week or whatever it might be, but put that boundary in, that creating that opportunity for choice
mm-hmm.
when it comes up. It's still aligned with who I want to be.
Yeah.
Like self-forgiveness, you can't, sometimes things happen, right? So like, I would love to eat organic
Yeah.
the meal all the time, but it's not available everywhere. And there may be instances where financially spending X on something like on a full grocery basket versus like Y, because of cash flow issues, might not be realistic. Therefore, like, if you've got this black or white must be organic, then you're kind of screwed. You're going to be starving. So flexibility, but still
But that depends. Like, if let's say, I don't know, a tobacco company came to you and said, let's redo the branding, and you had absolutely no, your cash flow was zero, would you take it?
no.
Yeah. Okay.
No chance.
So there are choices that are negotiable.
Yes.
And that have a certain bandwidth, and then there are choices that are absolutely black and white, and it's just like, no. So what I'm hearing is there is a whole lot of choice in choice.
There is. Yeah. So it's your evaluation criteria, right? So it's like negotiable, not negotiable. If it's negotiable, to what degree?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about considering that. So, well, that's a good place to stop. So I'm inviting everybody who's watching this to consider what choices you have within choices and what motivates you to make choices, you know, in which way you accept the choices and which way you question those choices, in which those choices become sustainable and enduring, and in which way they become something that you do for a while and then you choose something else. Thank you so much, Luke. That was really lots of food for thought.
Good conversation.
And thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next week.